welcome back to another episode of the MTI Know-How Coffee. And I'm very excited today because we're back with another international blend of know-how. And I'm very happy to welcome Paolo Pugni this morning. Hi, Paolo.
Hi. Happy to be here.
And you're joining from Italy. And
yes.
For those of you who don't know you yet, why don't you just give us a short introduction of who you are, what you do?
Yes. My name is Paolo Pugni. I'm from Milan, as you can see by my background. I live in Milan since 1960 when I was born, so I'm almost 62. I'm a grandfather. This is how I like to introduce myself at first. A runner, another point which is very important to me. And I love my job is since 95 that I'm in consultancy and training. After I've spent about 10 years working in companies, mainly in sales and marketing. So I had the opportunity to work on my basis from the companies where I worked to as a consultant in those years, about 30 years since when I started this job.
Great. And sales and service topics is also the main topics that you train with MTI, correct? You've been with us
exactly.
for quite some time. And that's also a little bit connected to our topic today, because your topic today is the disregarded art of asking questions. And when I heard this topic, I was a little bit confused at first because I thought, why is asking questions a disregarded art? But then I kept thinking, and I thought, you know, when we're children, or when you have children, I think that's important, you know that you're bombarded with questions. Like the little ones, they keep asking, what, why this, why that? And that's how they learn. And that's how we learned when we were little. I think we asked all these questions. And then I thought, as we got older, we really don't do that anymore. It kind of, the asking questions just kind of get lost. It decreases.
Yes, I think this because we believe that asking question is a sort of weakness. Actually, when we ask question to children, as you mentioned before, it's a different position. We ask question for their goods because we have something to teach them and we want information from them. But asking question to adults, to other people, seems to be a sort of weakness. So as we need to get an answer, we don't know that already the answers. And actually, I found out in a Harvard Business Review some time ago, a survey about 200 of their clients that actually, as you mentioned, were confident, were aware of the fact that they used to talk with their children, asking questions for 70–80% of the cases. But then they discovered that the same client, the same people, have not the same kind of frequency in asking questions to other adults, to their clients, for example. The percentage decreased to about 15–20%. So as you mentioned, there is something that we have to learn again about asking questions, the reason why, and maybe also why we can ask questions, how we can do that.
So your specialty is sales training, and I want to link this a little bit, because why is asking questions so important, and also why is it important in sales?
We have to get back to the reason of sales, to the main object of selling. I used to say that if there are no problems, there are no sales. Sales means overcoming the challenges that the clients are facing, solving their problems, providing a solution. We use the word solution, but solution actually means that there is a problem to solve. So to understand which is the right problem, the most important problem for the clients, we need to ask. We cannot already know the answer. And even when we could know the answer, the client should have the same awareness of the presence of this problem. So we are asking for these two main reasons. The first one is to know something about the the client situation. We can use, for example, the SPIN model, which is a model specific for asking question in a right way, in a right sequence, I have to say. So discovering the problems and probing for having more information about the implication of this problem into the client situation, so that we can propose, we can position our solution in the best way. But we are also asking because we want to raise the awareness of the clients. It's much different if we say you have this problem and we can describe even in the best way the problem, and if the client say I have this problem, because in the second option the client is buying the concept of having a problem, is saying by himself the problem, while on the first possibility, so I am explaining the problem to the client, he starts defending himself, his position, because he do not want to be perceived as weak in front of me.
True. And sometimes I think even when the client tells you that, you know, this is my problem, that's not the real problem, correct?
Yes,
Sometimes
yes, exactly.
by asking questions, you can actually discover the real problem, because the client might not even be aware of it, correct?
Yes. Yes, you are completely right. Actually, at present, the worst question that we can ask to our client is, which is your need? Which one is your need? Which was a very popular question in the 90s, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. First of all, I believe that the most part of the clients will answer, I have no needs, no need at all. But even though they can provide what they are needing, is their way of solving the problem. So they are asking what they know. Actually, we know much better than our clients in solving their problems, because this is what we do every day. This is what MTI is doing every day for its customer, for example. So we know, we have the know-how of solving the problem. We need to know the problem, not the solution, which for the client is the best one. Could be the best one, but could also be the worst one. So the right question, as you mentioned, is how I can help you to solve your problem. Of course, we need to have the right, right to ask this question. We have to have won the right to ask such a specific question, maybe also a powerful question.
So if you can't ask what's your need, because a lot of people will say, I don't have a need, you know, I don't need you to sell me something. And I can imagine that some clients also feel like, you know, when you ask too many questions, like it's like an interrogation and they feel overwhelmed. So how can you do that without bombarding them?
Yes. You mentioned interrogation. Yes, it's not an oral test, not even an interrogation. Sometimes it looks like one of these two possibilities. It's a sales dialogue. So we need also to have to win the right of asking question. I need to motivate my question. If I have a reputation for helping the clients, then I can ask questions like, which are your goals for next years? Which are the challenges that you are facing in reaching those goals? I need to have won the possibility to ask this question, because I'm perceived as someone then can provide a support to the client. I have a track record of success in this area. I can be perceived as someone who has let me say in this way, who love these clients, so that actually want to give value to the clients. And therefore, I'm allowed to also ask some questions. But then I have to listen a lot, because asking question is one part of the problem. So we can even, yes, we can even have the right to ask powerful questions, but we need to listen, because if we listen carefully, then the client is will to speak more, will to give me more information. So there are two different sides of the coins that need to be considered when asking questions.
Yeah, so you already mentioned it, it's the other side as well. The other side of the coins is not just, you know, throwing questions at the client and showing like, I'm interested, I want to get to know your problem. You also need to listen, and then on what they say, and then guide them with questions. What in your experience, what is the benefit of using smart and cunning questions to kind of tickle information out of the client?
Yes, first of all, as you mentioned, you guide the dialogue. I believe that is the sales rep that needs to guide the dialogue. Because it's the only way to make a difference with the customer. When we start answering questions that the customer is asking, we have lost the power of making a difference. We need to ask two different kind of questions, raise two different haha moments, as our American friends said. The first one is when the customer understands that we know a lot about their job, about their world, about their markets. So we are not somebody who know nothing about their world. If they need to trust us, if we want to be trusted by the clients, then we need to be able to show them that we know their words, we know their wording also, we know their slang, we know what they are doing. So this is the first aha moments. The second one is when we allow them to see their situation from a different point of view. I've never thought about that. This is the first time that I'm thinking about my situation in this way. So this is the second aha moment that we need to raise. And we can do that only by asking questions. So we need to lead the dialogue, asking questions. And I believe that this is the first very important benefit that we can reach in this way.
So how do you lead the dialogue? Is there some sort of like a blueprint process that salespeople can use, or is it actually a very individual an individual journey that you have to figure out for each client?
I think that there are some guidelines, but then we have to adapt to the customer. If we do not adapt to the customer, then it means that we are not listening to the customer. The guidelines is that we have to, first of all, introduce the dialogue. We have an opening part of the dialogue when we set the stage. And so we need to explain the customer what we are doing with him, with her in the next 15, 20 minutes, 1 hour. And this is a first way to win trust from the clients and to win the possibility to asking questions. If I explain to the customer that to provide him more value, even if I am providing just some hints about this situation, I'm not saying that I'm selling something, but just give you some ideas of what you could do to reach more goals, to reach easily your goals, then I can ask you questions about your situation, your challenges, your problem, and so on. Then the SPIN methodology, as I mentioned before, is a good guideline. So SPIN is an acronym, means that we need to start about asking questions about the situation. So the first S is situation, then problem, so the challenges, how you cannot reach the goal that you want to reach, which are the challenges that you are facing right now. We have a lot of examples in Europe about the increase in the cost of energy, for example, or the difficulty to get the raw material and so on. Then implication, so the third letter is implication, which are the consequences if you do not solve your problems. So if the situation will remain the same, which is the implication for you. So then you reach the need, but the need in this case is just a description of the solution. So this is a guideline that we can use as a blueprint, as you mentioned before. Yeah. Of course, is a dialogue, so we need to adapt to the clients. Some clients takes more time to reach the implication. Some other ones get really to the point in a few seconds. So we need to adapt to the client listening, as you mentioned before, with a very profound attention.
Is it also important, or can you use questions or questioning techniques to build a relationship with the client? Because that also affects your sales, doesn't it? Yes. Good client relationship, and how does that work?
I would ask a direct question at the end of a dialogue. So I will start with open question. leaving more space to the client so that he can talk about what he wants, try to establish a sort of intimacy with the clients. So let's talk about your situation. You are just arrived in this company. Which are your goals for improving? You've been hired for improving the situation. So which are your goals? What you want to do? Which are the difficulties that you are facing? Open question that allow the client to talk a lot. If he is willing to talk a lot.
Talking, like it's not just the specific questions in the sales process, as I understand you, it's also everything around, all the meta communication, everything around that builds the relationship and gets the client talking. Yes.
As you are doing right now, you are listening to what I'm saying and asking you questions about what I'm saying. So this is the point. This makes establish a good relationship with the clients. You mentioned meta communication. I want to underline something. There is always a connection between what we say and the level of relationship. So if we show the customer that we are listening, and for example, there are two different kinds of questions that can be used to show the customer that we are paying attention. This will raise the level of the relationship between us. For example, it's important to ask from time to time the clients if we have understood what he's saying. Am I correct if I'm saying that you told me this and this? So this is a closed question to get the to show the customer that we are listening. Or we can ask some question of for getting more details or be sure to have understood in the right way. When you are saying so, what you are meaning is, are you meaning this? This is what you're meaning, or what else is the meaning that you are giving to this word, for example? And these are very meta-communicational questions, because you show two things to the clients. First of all, that you have understood. You cannot ask this kind of question if you not have not understood, but more listen to the client. And second, that you want to be sure to have understood what he's saying. So you are paying attention to her, to him. You show that you care about what he's saying, and this will establish a good relationship between the clients and the sales guy.
In your experience in sales training, is the art of question, is this something that's very present nowadays in sales? Are many people aware of the importance, or have you made the experience that actually asking questions is something that many people are not naturally using in their sales process anymore?
Let's get back to the statistic, to the article that we found, and to your initial statement. There are few people, even in sales, that are aware of the fact that asking questions is powerful. Salespeople used to talk a lot. Say, I will present my company, we are a leader in the market, we are so and so, and they think that just showing how good we are, this will help the clients to buy. Or the second step is that I understand that they need to ask questions, but as you mentioned, it's a sort of interrogatory, sort of interrogation, a sort of oral test. So they have a list of questions to ask, they ask questions without listening. And this sometimes is even more dangerous than just saying something. Actually, a large part of the sales training are about questioning. We use role plays for doing that. But I have to say that the first one that should use this same approach is the trainer. I need to ask questions to the participant. Otherwise, I will say, do what I'm saying, but not what I'm doing. Yes, I'm selling ideas to them. I'm selling an approach. And is a sort of sales also this one. So I need to structure the training around awareness. I used to ask questions to get answers, and starting from answer, then I will win the possibility to even teach something to them. Because it's their request. They want to know what the spin technique is. They want to know what they have to ask about. So which are the different boxes where you have to put information from the clients. But everything should start from a questioning. As in sales, you start asking questions to the clients, then the client can ask you, okay, which is your solution? And then you can give the solution to the client.
So it's all about rediscovering this youthful curiosity that we have as a child, and to like implementing this into the sales process. Very, very cool. Thank you, Paolo. We're already at the end. I'm a bit surprised. The time's always running. Thank you very much for these interesting insights into the art of questioning. And yeah, why don't you go and discover your curiosity in your sales process? If you would like to exchange some ideas, some brainstorming with Paolo or with us, if you need help with designing a sales training or in sparking this curiosity in your sales team, then please give us a call, send us an email. You'll find all the information in the YouTube description box. We'll see each other next week for another MTI Know-How Coffee. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.